CQ, 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 calling CQ. CQ, the Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ, the Old Friends Net. This net meets on this frequency 3 times weekly, Tuesday mornings 9 a.m., Thursday mornings 9 a.m., and Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. The net's conducted in the Amplitude Modulation format and in the old-fashioned round table mode. So stations that can generate an AM signal are encouraged to participate. The net's main purpose is fellowship, looking for information, exchanging parts and pieces, maybe trading or selling equipment, geared mainly to the vintage type of equipment, but anyone that can generate an AM signal is welcome. So CQ, the Old Friends Net. So if you would like to participate in the activities today, give me a call and come now.
N4LQ.
K4GDN.
WF2U.
KZ4 Bravo.
WB4NKM.
WB4ARK.
Okay, somebody doubled with Buddy after NKM. Who was that station?
KZ4 Bravo.
No, you were before Larry there. Here's what I have: LQ, GDN, 2U, 4B, NKM, and ARK. There was somebody else. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Any other stations coming?
W4VRO. There was another one, Dave.
Got you, Ray. Who else?
WB4NKL.
Okay, that's clear. W4NRC.
That was Charlie.
No, it wasn't. Okay, I've got Charlie. Who else was it? All right, here's what I have. N4LQ, K4GDN, WF2U, KZ4B, WB4NKM, WB4ARK, W4VRO, WB4NKL, W4MEC. Who did I miss?
K4JAL.
All right, have you, Jimmy? Any more? All right, real quickly, one more time. LQ, GDN, 2U, 4B, NKM, ARK, VRO, NKL, MEC, JAL. All right, good morning to everybody. 47 degrees, overcast. Looks like we're going to be getting some precipitation here before too long. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm running the BC610 as usual and receiving on the HQ150. So, Steve, here it comes. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Well, good morning, everyone. N4LQ, Steve and Shelby, running the Nykit T150 and receiving on the Drake R8B, horizontal loop antenna, D104 mic, etc. And it's 52 degrees, and looks like we're about to get some rain this morning. K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the groups, K4GDN. And in Mona Beach here, it's about, I think it's in the upper 40s right now. I'm running the Ranger 2, and I'm driving the Homebrew 811 linear, putting out somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 watts carrier on the center fed dipole, and receiving on the HRO 50 T1 this morning. Fan seems a little weak, but I'm crackling everybody more or less 100%. So that's an on the mirror. WF2U in the group, K4GDN.
Pick it up, Mayor.
Yeah, okay, very good. K4GDN and the net, this is WF2U. Good morning, everybody. There's a little QSB on you, Georgia, just at the end, and took you down before the noise level, which is S5, but you were basically hovering between S6 and 7, and I copied you up to that point. And anyway, good morning, everybody. Conditions are not terribly good, but that's okay. Dave, you're 20 over 9, and Steve, you are peaking to 20 over 9. If you, I wonder whether you're running the T150 barefoot, but you peak up to 20, and sometimes the QSB takes you down to about S8. So I'll give reports in the next round. I'm using the Yaesu station, which is the FR101D receiver, and it's mating FL101 transmitter, which is a hybrid, and it's driving Yaesu FL2100 Bravo, putting out just about 300 watts on peaks from a carrier of almost 150 watts. So, temperature here is about 55. Feels humid, and we're expecting rain in just about a half hour. So, with that, it goes to John. KZ4B, this is WF2U.
Okay, WF2U in the group, KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, Mayor. You're coming in a good solid 10 over 9 on a very, very Scotch S meter on the Palstar PR30 and some QS Baker. The handle here is John, John. QTH is the east side of Lake Norman, I-77 side. The rig is the usual T150, driving an Ameritron AL1500 amplifier, feeding a 80-meter resonant dipole at the end of about 150 feet plus of coax. And so that's the setup here. So over to you, Larry. WB4NKM and the group KZ4 Bravo, over.
KZ4B, thank you, John. WB4NKM, temporary AE. Well, good morning to everybody. Name here is Larry. I'm located in Wise, Virginia, where we have 49 degrees this morning. It was a little warmer, but the temperature started dropping around 8 o'clock, and we've got rain now. And lots of static. Seems like there's a fast-moving front that's following Interstate 81. I looked at it on lightning maps, and it was getting pretty close to Cliff. I'm surprised that he's on, but maybe it'll go on north of him. We're running our Johnson Ranger, driving a Ameritron 811 amplifier, and receiving on a Hammerlin HQ170A. Antenna's end-fed half wave. I was able to hear all good signals up here this morning. I was able to hear George down on the beach. He's got a good signal up here in Virginia. George, if you copy, the Ranger 2's just fine up here. So I guess it goes to Buddy, WB4ARK, WB4NKM, temporary AE.
Okay, Larry, WB4MKN, this is WB4ARK, running the ART-13 R390A, and still suffering from the pinched nerve. A little pain this morning. Much better today, though, than yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that, and the day before that. So we're progressing toward recovery, hopefully. So we haven't had any MRI studies done yet, but we're waiting to get some information on the stents that were inserted in my eyes a couple of years ago to see if they're MRI safe. And one thing of note, in the Shaw Observer yesterday, the Space Telescope spied a neutron star in the debris of the famous supernova of 1987. Some of you may have seen that. It was visible for several days, and they have confirmed that it had two ways to go: a neutron star or a black hole. And they've discovered that it's a neutron star. With the Webb Space Telescope and the Hubble Space Telescope. A nice image of that neutron star in the paper. So with that, we will turn it over to WB4VRO, WB4ARK.
WB4ARK. This is W4VRO. Very good, buddy. Good morning. Good morning, Dave. And good morning to everyone on the net. It's cloudy here and showers are forecast for this morning. Name here is Ray, Romeo Alpha Yankee. I'm located about 50 miles south of Atlanta in a little community called Raymond. And the rig is a Johnson 500 running 350 watts carrier to an inverted V antenna. And the receiver is a 75S3 this morning. The SL101 sounds good, and a strong signal. It's working good for you. Two T150s on this morning, and Larry, I don't think we've talked. I may have checked into the net one time before when you did, but good to hear you. Johnson Ranger sounds great, and well, that's about it for now. Let me pass it on over to Cliff, WB4NKL, and the group, W4VRO.
And W4VRO is WB4NKL, Cliff in Limestone, Tennessee. I'm running the LMAC AF68 driving a Hallicrafter's HT41 with some 813s dropped into it, into a 160 meter dipole. And storm is closing in on me. I might make this my last one if I hear any close thunder, but we'll see how that goes. Good copy on everybody. Band's in good shape, and got 50 degrees here, and like I say, there's been some light rain, but it's getting a little closer, I think. So I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Charlie. W4MEC, WB4NKL. Okay, Cliff. WB4NKL. And your friends, W4MEC. Real good fellas, good copies.
More or less. Georgia's a little light here. I'm sure I'm light there too. It's 57 degrees here and overcast. And when I was out, it wasn't raining, but it wasn't spitting, but there was a drop of mist here and there. That's all I can say. It was like just I don't know. Anyway, it's coming, but. But I did get a couple of things done yesterday. It was a beautiful day yesterday, I have to say that. And I wish I'd done a little antenna work that I need to do, but I replaced the oxygen sensor in my wife's Suburban, and I had taken it out earlier, a couple months ago, and it was a real mess, the threads and everything, so I had to get the proper tap. So, of course, the tap handle doesn't fit under the car, so I'm using a wrench. And a 16-point socket would fit the end of the tap, but you couldn't get the socket and the handle in there to do it. So I'm using a epoxy and open-end wrench, combination wrench, and I'm turning this tap through there. Got her cleaned out and put the new oxygen sensor in. So anyway, I finally got that job done after dreading having to retap the hole on the thing. But anyway. So that's done. Now I need to finish my truck. Very funny. All right, so let's go to Jimmy, I think. K4JAL in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC. Well, this is Jimmy up in Burnsville, the great metropolitan area. It's 48 degrees here today. I'm running the ill-reputed 7610 and so likewise ill-reputed RM Italy, putting out about 80 watts, I guess, into an end-fed. So that's what I'm doing today. Hope I'll do more than that. I'm supposed to be getting my new Kohler 26 kilowatt home generator set in here on Thursday. That'll lighten my pocketbook some. And that's the state of the nation. Up to Uncle Dave, WA4LLR, K4JAL.
Okay, Jimmy. Fine business. Do we have anyone else that would like to join? Come now.
Good morning. This is W4UOC Lake Arrowhead near Westgate, Georgia.
All right, recognizing W4UOC. Good morning, Tom. Do we have anyone else? All right, go ahead and make a transmission. You'll be after K4JAL next time. W4UOC, WA4LLR. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. W4ALR, W4UOC. I don't check with you guys very often. I finished with the group on 3725. Saw that you were up here, so I thought I'd say hello. Again, my name is Tom. I'm near Westgate, Georgia. And this is the old friends show, which I've checked into for many, many, many years, occasionally. I'm not running any old radios right now. I am old. I'm 83 years old. Been a ham since 1958. So I figured maybe you'd allow me in even though I'm using a modern rig. I'm transmitting with the Flex 6400M, feeding a Collins 30L1 and a half-wave end-fed antenna. So I hope you're able to copy. I'm going to turn it back to you, and you can get the order straightened out. Or I'll get the order straightened out. Thank you. W4UOC.
Okay, Tom. My call is Whiskey Alpha 4 Lima Romeo. My name's Dave. I'm in Burnsville, North Carolina. Do we have any other stations that would like to join? Come now. All right, nothing heard. Well, very good. Copied everybody just fine on that round. The T-150s sound good. The Rangers sound good. The LMAC sounds good. The ART-13, of course, sounds good. And even the two modern rigs sound good. So there you go. Let's see here. Buddy, I'm so sorry about the pinched nerve. I can commiserate today. I came down yesterday with a tremendous bout of sciatica. The nerve in my lower back on the right side and my right leg kind of feel like they're on fire. And the first appointment I can get with my doctor is March the 11th. So if something doesn't ease out a little bit, I may have to visit the emergency room, but we'll see. I sure don't want to have to do that. And I'm trying to get a MRI as well. I hope it works out till you can have yours. Ray, sounding good from down in Raymond, Georgia. And Charlie, glad you got the O2 sensor area retapped and a new one in. And Jim, I know you're looking forward to the generator. And Tom, fine business on being 83 years old. Well, I'm not quite there. Be 75 in June, Lord willing, but rapidly moving in that direction. Anyway, buddy, yeah, I saw that article about the neutron star. That was interesting. Speaking of space, real quickly, the space weather sunspot count's 133. Solar flux index is 172, and the K is 1.33. A few items from this day in history. On this day in 2010, Chile was struck by a magnitude 8.8 earthquake, which caused tremendous damage, and then generated a tsunami, which wiped out a lot of the coastal area. On this day in 2015, Leonard Nimoy passed away at the age of 83 for all Star Trek fans. On this day in 1991, President George H.W. Bush ordered a ceasefire and declared victory in the Persian Gulf War. On this day in 1973, 200 members of the American Indian Movement forcibly took control of Wounded Knee, South Dakota. On this day in 1951, the 22nd Amendment limited the terms of a president to 2. They should do the same thing with Congress, but that's just my editorial comment. On this day in 1933, the Reichstag in Berlin burned down, which led to the establishment of the Nazi dictatorship. On this day in 1932, Elizabeth Taylor was born in London. And on this day in 1807, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was born in Portland, Massachusetts. Well, actually, it's now in Maine. And on this day in 1776, at the Battle of Moores Creek Bridge, the North Carolinian revolutionaries defeated the Loyalists in the American Revolution. That's enough of that. Down to you, Steve, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Okay. Sounds good. Everybody sounds good here this morning. I hear Ray, W4VRO, is coming in pretty good. And Tom's a little lighter, but I guess, you know, that's because he's so far away, but it's good to hear you. And George, you're sounding good on your Ranger. So copying everybody on the Drake R8B, which just came in yesterday. Having fun with it. It's kind of interesting. Receiver made back in the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. I don't know if it's a boat anchor or not. It's not very heavy, but it's big compared to some of the other things I've seen. Running about 275 carrier here, and the modulation is all positive modulation, about 150%, and hope it sounds okay. According to what I'm calculating, our old friends luncheon is next Thursday. That would be March the 7th, and I could be wrong. I've made a few mistakes, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this seems like yesterday since we just had one. It's amazing. So sorry to hear about all the pain a couple of you guys are having. doing pretty good here lately, and I've been taking Charlie's highly recommended flaxseed oil to help with that. Oh, that stuff is so good. So, over to George, K4GDN, N4LQ.
I'm watching you on the monitor, and it doesn't look like your modulation is all that high. Like I said, I'm running the Ranger 2 into the Homebrew 811, and according to the bird meter, I'm running right at 200 watts a carrier with a pair of 811, and they're sitting there as cool as cucumber. The current on them is running about something under 200, maybe a little over 200. Anyway, I do have a little bit of trouble copying WB4 NKN. I didn't get a name there. Ray was a little weak, Jimmy was weak, and Tom as well. Charlie's normally kind of weak too. But anyhow, I got most of everything there. And the rain later on here today at Myrtle Beach. Right now, it's just a bit overcast, but not expecting a whole lot of rain there. Calling for a cold snap later on in the week. These people out here have a really strange way of looking at the weather. So with that, I'll pass it on to Amir, WF2U in the group K4GDN.
Yeah, Roger, K4GDN in the group. This is WF2U. Well, I copied you your 5 and 6 to 5 and 7 signal the whole way. You didn't drop into the noise at all from QSB, just a slight QSB on you. And okay, so let's go to reports from this round that I haven't given yet. John, you are riding at about 20 over 9, almost no QSB. Larry, by the way, congratulations for your upgrade, and you're 5 and 9 here in Landrum, South Carolina. And Buddy, you 10 over 9, and sorry about your pains. Actually, yesterday I got an epidural in my back because it was bothering me for a long time, and I feel kind of a zillion times better this time. So Ray, you are steady 5 and 9, Cliff 20 over 9, Charlie 10 over 9, Jimmy 5 and 9, Tom W4UOC 5-9 was 20 when you called in. Anyway, by the way, I in the past when I've been using the Ciesu station, I used a different microphone. Now I'm using the D104. I used the Turner desk mic. I used, I think, almost from the beginning when I set up this station. And now I have one of my D104s wired up with the stereo phone plug, the 1/4 inch, which fits that. So now I can use it also here. I have several D104s, so but with either no connectors or connectors that I bought them with, and it doesn't go with anything. I have the feeling some of the connectors went with CB rigs. I've been collecting D104s at Hamfests. So anyway, it is John's turn. Great signal, as I said. KZ4B, this is WF2U.
Okay, WF2U in the group KZ4 Bravo, fine business mirror. You are coming in quite well today. You, Cliff, Charlie, and Dave are sort of tied with about 10 over 9 on my extremely Scotch S-meter. So that's a rundown there. Yesterday was absolutely fantastically beautiful. I managed to get in 2 walks. Normally, I'm lucky to get in 1, but it doesn't look like today is going to be near as nice. That just about spoiled me. I thought summertime was right around the corner, but of course it's not. And let's see, what else? Steve, the T150 does sound good, as usual, and we have, I do want to ask you, Steve, if you have added a large value capacitor on the low voltage to ground. There's not one, well, that's question 1, a large value capacitor, low voltage to ground to keep the VFO from shifting frequency. I can't really, excuse me, can't tell that here if there is a problem. And the other is, do you have a bleeder resistor? And if you have done both of those things, when you change your function switch, do you hear it arcing when you switch it? I don't have a bleeder resistor. I have the large value capacitor to ground, and so I have to turn the T150 off to change the function switch to keep it from arcing. So hope that's clear and didn't confuse you. So on that note, Larry, it's coming your way, WB4NKM, and you've got quite a good signal. This is KZ4 Bravo, over.
Okay, John, KZ4 Bravo, WB4NKM, temporary AE. Well, thanks for the signal report. You're also, well, everybody's about full scale here. The band here picked up, but I picked up a lot of QRN. I don't know if the storms are moving toward me or what, but it's pretty rough up here. We'll stay around as long as we can. I heard some thunder earlier before the net, but haven't heard anything in a while. And good morning to Tom down in Georgia. Flex sounds good up here in Virginia, Tom. And we're kind of waiting. I gotta wait till the rain quits and venture to the grocery store, pick up some more provisions. I'm kind of dreading that, so maybe the rain will slack and we can do that a little bit later. Also got to make a run to the dumpster. Cliff, I hope you're able to stick around. I'd like to hear that train whistle come through once again. Not much going on here. We've there's a lot of sickness in the community, and I'm originally from down around where Cliff lives, around Greenville, Tennessee, and I hear there's a lot of sickness, a lot of flu and COVID sparked back up down that way. So over to you, buddy. WB4ARK, WB4NKM, temporary AE.
WB4MKN, WB4ARK. All right. Larry. Very good signal today. Everybody's got a good signal today. And we got a little bit of static crashes in the background, but not too bad. Mostly the static crashes are between check-ins, but every now and then one will exceed the carrier level. The temperature here is 56 degrees, and we have total overcast, and it looks like it could start raining any minute, but in the west it does look a little like it's trying to clear a little bit, so I don't know what's going to happen today right now anyway. Anyhow, yeah, the pain has gotten much better with medication, and but it does seem to reside in my shoulder and arm area now instead of my back, which that's good. It's moving on toward my hand and hopefully off into space soon. Yeah, so that's about it for me. I'm still working on the KWM2. Boy, this thing's going to look like a brand new transmitter when I get done with it. I cleaned it, cleaned all the dust off of it and dirt that was on the surface of the chassis, and I mean it is clean as a whistle, and every part of it is clean now. So I just took the meter out, did a little work on it, put it back. Looks like it's brand new. So we got it, and I think it's going to be a pretty good transmitter when I get done with it. I went to finish the alignment yesterday, and it is in top condition. Well, with that, on over to W4VRO. This is WB4ARK.
WB4ARK. This is W4VRO. Very good, buddy. Sounds like you're making progress with the pain. And wish you a speedy and complete recovery. I know that's been aggravating, but sounds like you're on the right track. A few brief comments, starting from the top. Of course, Dave, the BC610 sounds great as always. And Steve, you questioned the modulation there. It sounds perfect to me. It really sounds good. So I think you've got that adjusted just like you want it. Sounds like it. Sorry I'm not copying George. I need to put up a different antenna, oriented a little differently, in an effort to receive George more often. Let's see, Larry, that Ranger sounds great, and a good signal here south of Atlanta. And Cliff, I hope the weather hasn't closed in on you completely. Maybe you're still around. Charlie, you have more courage than anybody I know in making mechanical repairs on vehicles. I've done my share of that, more than I care to remember. But everything from complete engine overhauls and so forth. But your knowledge and your willingness and eagerness, apparently, to just take on any kind of repair mechanically amazes me. So I hope what you're working on now goes well, and I'm sure it will. Tom, Jimmy, I don't think I gave you a signal report last time. Copying you very well, good signal. And Tom, your signal is always good.
And Tom, you do have one piece of vintage gear, the 30L1, but regardless of what gear you have connected to the antenna, vintage or not, hope you'll check in with us often. It's good to hear you. And with that, I'm going to say 73 to all and listen for a few minutes. Mir, thank you for the signal report. And we will listen for you next time. Hope all of you have a good week. 73. Dave, thank you for calling tonight. And it goes to Cliff. Hope he's still with us. WB4 NKL in the group. W4VRO 73.
W4VRO. It's WB4NKL. Great signal today from Georgia, Ray. And the storm don't seem to have, the thunder, hadn't heard any more thunder for a while, so it is raining, but hopefully won't take any lightning close in. John, he was talking about the ARC and the T150. I had made a suggestion to Steve. He was having trouble with the relay arcing in his LMAX supply, and had him to install a 0.1 microfarad capacitor in series with a 100 ohm across the contacts, and that cured the arc in the LMAX. So you might try that snubber circuit in your T150. Might cure that arc. Don't have much more here. I'll go ahead and say 73s on this go around, and hopefully this rain will stop. I'll be able to get a walk in after a while. It looks like we're going to have a break here starting at about 10 o'clock in the rain, so try to get that in. And then I don't know what the weather's bringing on the rest of the tomorrow. It don't sound too good. Got temperatures all over the place and snow flurries and I don't know what all. A little bit of everything, a mix. 73s, thanks for calling it, Dave, and we'll catch everybody Thursday, I guess. Go ahead, Charlie, W4MEC, it's WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, WB4NKL and old friends W4MEC. Real good. Ray, I actually have let that vehicle be maintained by Hunter Chevrolet before they abandoned the Chevy owner and went with foreign cars only. And I found a really good mechanic that does all the heavy work. It's got 300, close to 400,000 miles on it. It's actually reaching the miles of my truck. The truck's got about 408 on it. And this one's at 360 or 70, somewhere in there. And still runs amazingly well. And we pull our trailer with it and all that. Things like the oxygen sensor. This one, it's got two. I let the mechanic change the other one because the other one was in about the most messed up spot you could put one, and the only way to really get it would be to put the car on a lift where you could stand under it and get your arms in there with a tool to remove it. But this one was just more or less in the clear, and I could change that one out. But I've let him take care of it. It's a four-wheel drive vehicle, and I've been religious on all of the maintenance intervals by mileage, so maybe that's the reason it's lasted this long. And the only real work I've ever had done to it was I had the rear seal on the crankshaft and all the gaskets, oil pan, valve covers, all that stuff. They were all replaced a while back, a couple of years ago. But other than that, it's in routine maintenance, brakes, and I think I had a couple of CV joints go bad on the front axles there, and let them do it because they have to be, bearings have to be pressed on and all that stuff. But anyway, so I'm not saying that I've maintained this car for the past, because 22 years old this year, and other than a little rust down on the what are those things called down there? Right over, it's got running boards on it, but that little strip of metal down there right above that, it's it's not the quarter panel. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it runs from the front fender to the rear fender right there at the bottom. And other than that, that's it. So it's been a good Chevy Suburban. They're a well-made vehicle, and they take care of them. They seem to last forever. And like my mechanic said, when you ask him what's the best car to buy, and he said the car you own that's bought and paid for, keep it going. So that's what we do. And my mechanic said if you ever want to sell it, I will buy it in a heartbeat. So that's a good sign. So we're holding on to it. And we'll keep it until they make me buy an electric car because there's no gasoline for sale. K4JAL in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, K4JAL. Well, I think you're pretty safe. The tide is turning on electric cars a little bit. They need to get the grid up to snuff before they put everybody driving that. Of course, there's not a lot of thought goes into any of that at the national level. Well, I got my taxes done, so I can go over and play radio again over at my workshop today. I'm looking forward to that. Hope I don't tear anything up too bad. Tom, I'm an octogenarian also, and I think they ought to give us a little leeway on our equipment on that. I do own quite a bit of vintage gear, so I ought to get credit for that, even though I run this rice box thing over here where it's convenient. That's what's going on with me today. I guess I'll get on out of here. W4UOC, K4JAL saying 73, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
W4UOC, W84LR. Tom, you still with us? Evidently, Tom must have abandoned ship. All righty, 7-3 to Ray, 7-3 to Cliff, and 7-3 to Jim. Do we have any late check-ins? Come now. All right, nothing heard. Well, we have time for a 73 round, so we can do that. Buddy, you'll turn it to Charlie, and Charlie, you'll turn it back to me, I guess. And Steve, you're talking about the flaxseed oil. Well, it's not the most pleasant thing I've ever tasted, but I just take mine straight and follow it with a glass of water, cup of coffee, or something. It's not. I don't think it's too bad, but it's not. I wouldn't want an 8-ounce glass of it for sure. Let's see. Yeah, Charlie's impressive in his mechanical abilities with vehicles. And Buddy sounds good on the KWM2. I'm sure it's going to be a beauty when you finish with it. I've got one I'd love for you to get a hold of as well. It's a working rig and doesn't look bad at all, but it's got some things that need attention, and it's something that I don't feel qualified to attack. Anyway, let's see here. Not much more here, so we'll go ahead and go around and do a 73 round. So, Steve, here it comes. N4LQ, W84LR.
4LQ. Okay, 73s to all those that have left. And let's see, I've got one question to answer for John, KZ4B. No, I have not put a capacitor across the VFO. I'm using a Crystal 3715, and I'm off frequency just a tad, but that's the weak link in this T150 is the VFO. It puts out harmonics. It's unstable. Not only does it drift, which I could live with, but it warbles, as they call it, as you speak, because of poor regulation. And who knows what else, picks up RF, and I think the whole thing just needs to be redesigned, and WHAI has some mods, and I tried some of those and didn't really do any good. But anyway, as far as the arcing goes, what Cliff said will definitely probably work. All you do is take a resistor and a capacitor in series and put them across the offending arcing contacts, and that's a 100 ohm resistor and a 0.1 microfarad capacitor to form a snubber. The voltage rating on the capacitor is up for question, and I don't think anybody knows what it should be. It was suggested that it would be whatever the B plus is and then some, but you're dealing with an arc. So I used a 630 volt 0.1 and a 100 ohm resistor, and I've tried both half watt and 2 watt. Doesn't seem to matter. I don't think that's really an issue. Put them in series, put them across the contacts, and watch and see what happens. I couldn't believe this relay was arcing like a blowtorch, man. I mean, when it breaks, the current did not want to stop going through the contact, and it just kept going. It would have kept going forever until the contacts melted down. But that's another story. But anyway, that took care of the problem. So let's see what else is going on. Nobody commented on the luncheon next week, so I guess I'm correct that it's next Thursday in Spartanburg. Anyway, and Dave, I didn't realize you were a flaxseed oil taker also. I guess that's Charlie and me and you, and who knows who else, but it leaves quite an aftertaste, even though I mix it with apple juice, and XYL told me to put a little water in there with it and then shake it up in a jar. She said the water helps break up the molecules and makes it combine better. So there you go. Over to George, if you're still out there. K4GDN, N4LQ.
Okay, N4LQ in the group, K4GDN. And yeah, man does seem to be changing a little bit here. And let's see, Buddy, if you're going to got that get up here too, you want to know, and you may be interested in a 3001. I'm considering selling my 3001. It's got 4 brand new tubes in it. Once I got the great L4B 3001, took the back seat on that side of the track due to the 4B coming in. It really did a good job there getting that and taking care of that side of the track. And I think that's about it from this side. And relay contacts, yes, summers are really a good thing to have in there. I keep a good eye on that. I try to use relays that are considerably above the ratings of what I need. And see how that goes. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say 73 on this one, and I'm going to listen to the various. And I guess it goes to here. WF2U in the group, K4GDN.
Roger, K4GDN and the net. This is WF2U. Well, you faded down again, George, almost to the noise, but I still could copy you. 73. Have a good afternoon, everybody, and a good week. I'm not sure about Thursday, whether I'll be here in the morning. So, Dave, thanks for running the net. You came in very steady, around 20 dB over 9 the whole time. Steve, you sounded good with the T50 and the rest of the stuff, and also 20 over 9. Everybody else was doing well also, and was easy to copy. 73, all have a good afternoon again, and see you most likely on the Old Friends Net on Sunday. So, goes to John. K's at 4B. This is WF2U.
Okay, WF2U in the group, KZ4 Bravo, fine business, Mir. Steve, thanks for the feedback on the T150. Appreciate that, and also Cliff's suggestion there that Steve elaborated on. And buddy, I hope you may not be listening, but I hope the pain works itself on out. Nobody needs that, that's for sure. So let's see. Larry, if you're still in there, over to you, and if not, Dave, if you can straighten it out. WB4NKM and the group KZ4B, clear but listen.
Okay, John. KZ4B, this is WB4NKM, temporary AE. Don't know what I got going on. Your audio went down on me, but I was fooling with a time wave DSP here on the receiver, so it might have been my problem. Dave, I like the audio you've got on that transmitter. You sound really good this morning, and appreciate you calling the net. Steve, the T150 audio sounds real good. Everybody's got a almost full-scale signal up here this morning. A little bit of QSB, but not bad. And I think the storm is going on up 81. It's moving out quickly. I'd like to thank everybody for the good signal reports from everyone. Charlie, it amazes me that you can work on your own vehicles. I can't hardly get under mine. I haven't tried lately. So that's good that you can do your own maintenance and stuff like that. Sounds like you're enjoying the mechanic work. Over 50 years ago, I wondered what it would be like to transmit down here in this extra portion of the band, and now I'm finding out, and I'm enjoying it immensely. Thank you, Dave, for calling the net and letting me join the Old Friends group. We'll look forward to checking in when we can, and we'll say 73s to everybody. Have a good week, and look forward to meeting in, checking in on the Old Friends Net the next time. Down to you, I guess it's Buddy, WB4ARK to take it. This is WB4NKM, temporary AE.
WB4MKN, temporary AE. I think you said WB4ARK. Well, I do most of all the maintenance on our cars, brakes, starter motors, whatever. Sometimes it can be a challenge. I had carpal tunnel surgery about 6 years ago, and after I got through the recovery period of a couple of weeks, I had already gotten a starter motor for our Honda, and I was afraid that it was going to give up and we were going to get stuck somewhere. So I decided to change it. Well, I got all the parts off on the top side. You had to go through the top side to get to it. I had the intake plenum off and all of that, and it was a chore, but I got all that stuff off. And there was 3 bolts. I got 2 bolts loose on the front side of the motor, and there was this long rod. It was a bolt. It had threads on the end of it and a flange. And on the back side it had the hex fitting for the 10 millimeter, I think it was. Well, I got on that thing, and I couldn't get a wrench on it because you didn't have enough throw. And so I got a socket on it, and I worked on that thing, and I couldn't get enough throw on the socket either with the ratchet. Well, that thing was a challenge, and I mean, I thought I was going to break it off. But I kept working on it, and it finally broke loose. Came loose with a snap. I got the thing out, but I didn't put it back in as tight as that mechanic did with that tool that he built that engine with. I put that thing back in a little tight, but not over tight. But that was one of the worst jobs I think I've ever had, because my carpal tunnel surgery was beginning to act up in my right hand, and that's the hand I needed to do the forcing with. So that was a job. Well, I'll say 73. Everybody have a great upcoming week, and hope this pain continues to clear on out. Maybe it'll be gone by the time I get to the MRI point. W4MEC, WB4ARK.
Real good, buddy. WB4ARK and Group W4MEC. Well, I've run into some of those bolts like that, and I've run into some where the only wrench will fit it is a box end. And when you break it loose, of course, it won't come out with your fingers or anything. It's gonna fight to the very last thread. And I've sat there with a box end where you get it on the head and you move it like a half an inch, and then you have to undo the box end, turn the wrench around the other way, and move it another half an inch. And you sit there for like 30 minutes taking one bolt out a half an inch at a time because of where they put it. And I've worked on enough cars to realize that the best thing they could have ever done was, after an engineer designed a car, was to take him out there and say, okay, fix this, and let him figure out that a lot of his design was not very conducive to maintaining something. I think I mentioned a while back, my favorite one was the Chevy Monza. When it first came out, you couldn't change the 3 plugs on the back side of the transverse mounted 6. And the cure was to drill 3 holes in the firewalls to get the wrench into the motor. So I've been on a plan to beat the governor out of his inspection fee. You got to keep a vehicle 35 years when it finally, you don't have to get it inspected anymore. No safety inspection, no nothing. I've got a motorcycle and a truck that are over 35 years old, and I'm going to wait for this Suburban, and I'll be driving in the state for free. But the irony of that is, if there's any vehicle that should be inspected, it's one that's 35 years old. So, oh well, the mind power of the government. We'll see you fellas on Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, and y'all have a good rest of the day. 7-3 now. Thanks for running that there, Dave. One more quick comment on the snubber. You might want to look up snubbers on the internet there, Steve. I did this a while back, and there is a science to their design. And I was trying one on the DX60. You know, that's famous for the arc on the function switch, because they actually switch the center tap of the high voltage to ground when you activate it. And I ended up not using it because you put the snubber in there, and the resistor and the capacitor allowed enough current, AC current flow to run that even though the rig was in standby and no high voltage on, it still had like 500 volts on the plate of the tube just from that snubber passing enough current to make juice. So anyway, there's a science to those things. Anyway, but see you later. Y'all have a good rest of the day. WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
Charlie, what did you do instead of the snubber?
I don't use the rig that much.
Roger.
It's a sure cure. All righty. Any final comments before we close the net? Okay, nothing heard. All righty, gentlemen, thank you for checking in today. Everybody sounded good. Enjoyed the net. Hope you have a wonderful week, and let's see, Lord willing, we'll talk with you on Thursday. So 7-3, God bless. This is WA4LRR Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net. Bye-bye.